Hey there everyone, this is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth, here to bombard you today with some information about how you are being bombarded. A silent war has been waged and your health and personal well-being is under attack. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you probably already know that Bill Gates recently won legal approval to buy 2,100 acres of North Dakota farmland worth $13.5 million, making people livid about it. In fact, he's now the largest owner of private farmland in the entirety of the United States. This is the same guy who backed lab-grown breast milk before there were baby formula shortages, and he thinks the richest nations of the world should shift entirely to synthetic beef. Even though a number of studies have proven that vegan Beyond Meat burgers are just ultra-processed patties that can be bad for our health. Some of these studies have found that ingesting these foods can raise your risk of obesity, it can cause heart and circulation problems, it causes diabetes, and also cancer. But one study you may not be aware of is this one that links ultra-processed foods to cognitive decline. A new study has revealed eating more ultra-processed foods may contribute to overall cognitive decline, including the areas of the brain involved in executive functioning, the ability to process information and make decisions. Gee, what could be bad about that? And it's not only the food. We are being bombarded with poisons in ways that most people don't even know, like with fluorescent lighting. Monsanto told to pay teachers $185 million over chemical exposure. 3 school teachers in Washington state who sued chemical company Monsanto over exposure to materials in fluorescent lights have been awarded $185 million. And of course, who could forget when jurors gave $289 million to a man that they say got cancer from Monsanto's Roundup weed killer. But perhaps even worse than the bombardment of poisons in our food and even our lighting is the fact that our water supply is tainted with fluoridation, as I reported here. The forced medication on the population through water fluoridation is a heated debate which is growing as more and more people learn about the dangers of sodium fluoride.
Have you ever heard of a thing called fluoridation? Fluoridation of water?
Yes, I have heard of that, Jack, yes. Yes.
Well, do you know what it is?
No.
Do you realize that fluoridation is the most monstrously conceived and dangerous communist plot we have ever had to face?
We consume it every day with the reassurance from our health authorities that it is doing us good. The truth is, fluoride is a poison, and adding it to our drinking water is an evolving social experiment started 40 years ago. Now one of the world's top fluoride experts has issued a grim warning about what it could be doing to our health, and that of unborn children. Yet as Frank Pengello reports, you'll get a different spin from dentists and health bureaucrats.
Health bureaucrats are indeed more infectious and dangerous than any virus I've ever seen. Case in point, monkeypox can now survive for weeks on water and on refrigerated food, according to a report from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's DHS Science and Technology Directorate. Now, most viewers here at Press for Truth, and even people I know personally, can see exactly what's coming down the pike. A global food crisis that is being engineered by the powers that ought not be. As I recently reported, we saw farmers abandoning their farms in Sri Lanka as the nation descended into chaos following drastic measures to fight climate change. And then, the exact same thing happened with the Dutch. Let's grow! Farmers are uprising globally in the fight for food freedom. Farmers are protesting all across the Netherlands against the government's plan to curb nitrogen emissions, escalating to the point where police officers fired upon a tractor that was being driven by a 16-year-old protester. The Dutch have inspired Italian, Polish, and German farmers to also take up their tractors in the battle for food freedom, and the movement is showing no signs of slowing down. Well, now it's Canada's turn, my friends, as this bombardment continues. Canada's government is now coming for the farmers. With all the protests taking place around the world these days, some people may have overlooked what's been going on in the Netherlands. Dutch farmers there have been in open revolt since the government ordered them to slash their use of nitrogen and other fertilizers and to reduce their herds of livestock, all in the name of climate change. Well, this must have looked like a dandy idea to the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, because he's preparing to do the same thing to farmers in his country. What could possibly go wrong? Now it's the Canadian farmers' turn. Undaunted by the uproar in the Netherlands over the impact on farmers of rules limiting nitrogen emissions, Canada's government is now looking to go down a similar route. The government is proposing to cut emissions from fertilizer 30% by 2030 as part of a plan to get to net zero in the next 3 decades. But growers are saying that to achieve that, they may have to shrink grain output significantly at a time when the world is scrambling for more supplies. Even the Aussies see this for what it is, and they're calling it out on national television.
Dutch farmers, they are still protesting over the cuts that they're proposing, not only to CO2 but nitrogen emissions. One of the it's basically the second largest food exporter in the world, and they're being told that they're going to need to cut their production at a time of global food insecurity to basically follow climate mandates. This seems like complete insanity to me. But here's another crazy thing. Canada is now apparently going down the same route. The Canadian government under Justin Trudeau, the same guy who tried to crack down on all the truckers and everybody else, and used really sort of Xi Jinping style tactics against them. Well, now he wants to impose drastic climate change restrictions again on farmers, again using the nitrogen excuse to crack down on food production. This just seems like complete insanity to me.
Unfortunately, it's worse than insanity. It's calculated, premeditated, it's by design, and it's downright evil. And some people wonder why they don't feel so great. I mean, how do they not know that pretty much all their current health problems are due because they eat poison, they drink poison, they listen to and watch poison on the airwaves that convinces them to run out and inject poison into themselves? That's what you call bombardment. So the question now is, how do you achieve food freedom while also limiting your poisonous intake as much as possible? Well, first of all, you need to cut off one of the main sources of poison in your life. And you can do that simply by turning off your TV. While you're at it, crumple up those newspapers and turn off that radio as well. Do these things first, my friends, and you'll be off to a great start. Then you can start to focus on becoming truly and fully self-sustainable. Getting out of debt is key, and that may require that you lower your standards of living in order to be able to own something outright. But I'd rather live in a shack with a garden than to have a big house with a mortgage any day. By dropping your reliance on the government or the banks, or the grocery stores for that matter, you will become the biggest enemy of the state, which is a free and independent human being who is fully self-sustainable and entirely capable of making it on his own. If you're there already right now, or at least making the moves to get there in the very near future, then congratulations, guys. You are making all the right moves. So if that's you, please click the thumbs up button in this video and share this one with your friends and family who you think need to see it the most. And if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this information, please check the links in the description below to where you can find me on pressfortruth.ca/donate to financially contribute to my efforts. My friends, I need all the support I can get as I go up against the behemoth that is the MSM. That's all for today, my friends. I want to thank you once again for tuning in. Stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.